Yo, Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, woof, woof. Ha ha ha. Hey, a reminder for my YouTubers out there. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, click that subscribe button on the bottom right of your screen. Click it, just click it. I love to click. All right now, today's special guest on Wyatt is Mr. Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley, a multi-hyphenate artiste. And what's so exceptional about this gentleman is that he endured a harrowing experience with intimate partner violence and abuse. Its acronym is IPVA, which is domestic violence and abuse within the LGBTQ community. And Bishop Shirley made it through the storm to claim his best life. And y'all, he'll be pulling up to the mic post haste. And yo, after the show, visit my online home, WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ news, features, commentary, and entertainment. And WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular, and it's growing. Now, at WyattEvans.com is where you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And the current installment is Frenzy! Yeah, Frenzy. And Frenzy is like chock full of steaming masculine romance, intrigue, action, danger. I'm talking danger, y'all. And heaping helpings of erotic passion and plain old down home nastiness. And my listeners, get ready for the next chapter in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And it's called Delirium. I said Delirium. And Delirium drops this winter, just in time for Christmas, And Delirium will make very, very nice gifts for under the tree. You know, you can read passages while you're snuggling up with your significant other. Lord have mercy, good golly, Miss Molly. Looky here. Guess who's back? It's my sometimes part-time co-host, Madam Pussy Galore, Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, Drag Queen Supreme. Hey, what's shaking, bacon? What's booking, snookums?
Oh, Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans, yes. It is moi, Madam Pussy Galore, Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, Drag Queen Supreme.
Well, talk to our listeners, why don't you? Because I know you want to.
Oh, Mr. Woe, what I really want to talk about is my turbo lift.
Your turbo lift? Madam Pussy Galore, Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, Drag Queen Supreme. Are you for real? You actually got an elevator? I mean, you do live in a hole in the wall, so how in the hell would a turbo lift fit up in there? Besides, you can't afford that because you're B-R-O-K-E broke. You're broke. You know you're broke. You're broke.
Oh, Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans, you're just so freaking annoying. So just stop it. And you're a silly boy because you darn well know that my turbo lift is a man. And the only thing that really matters is that he's my man. He's all mine. And just clutch the pearls and stop the train. It's our anniversary. My turbo lifted me. My turbo lifted me.
Well, first of all, you can't sing. And secondly, anniversary? Seriously? How long have you two been an item? I mean, look, truth be told, you can only keep a guy for like a freaking minute. I mean, darling, you go through men like a train. And without any stops on that train, and you know what kind of train I'm talking about.
Oh, Mr. Mr. Wyatt and Brian Evans, how dare you?
I dare.
Well, you know what, Mr. Well, when you think about it, the right kind of train can be absolutely exhilarating. I mean, the right kind of train can make you go, woo, woo, woo. But, you know, Mr. Well, I digress. Now, my big guy, my turbo lift and moi have been together for a year. And even now, he still gives me swoon-itis. And I'm living my very best life in Swoonsville.
What the hell is swoonitis? What's Swoonsville?
Oh, Mr. Wells, swoonitis and Swoonsville mean that when I think of my big guy, my Mr. Turbo Lift, or when I dream of him, when I see him, my po old heart is all aflutter, like with butterflies surrounding it. My po old heart just beats so rapidly. My big guy simply makes me befuddled, bewildered, and just beside myself. Oh, Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans, Mr. Well, you'll never, and I do mean never, have a love like mine.
Thank God.
Oh, won't you just zip it, Mr. Well? My Mr. Turbo Lift still makes my breasts sweat and swell. He still makes my nipples, my nippies perky. He still makes me moist all over, particularly in my snatchy snatch. Ergo, swoonitis.
Snatchy snatch? What the hell is that?
Oh, yes. I just want my Mr. Turbo Lift to just snatch my snatchy snatch. Just snatch it. I mean, my big guy is just so divinely turbo, so deliciously huge in all the right places. And let me tell you something. Mr. Well, why are you screaming at me?
Because I can, and because this is my show. No, as Arnold Schwarzenegger says, get out. Just get the hell out.
I never.
She gone. Thank God she's gone. She gone. All right, now let's jump head first in today's show. Wyatt, very special guest, is Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley, one hell of a dynamic voice within the LGBTQ community. And currently residing in Atlanta, I call the ATL Hotlanta. Bishop Shirley is a multifaceted talent, author, columnist, singer, songwriter, performer. And y'all, his best-selling novel is 3 Words, 4 Letters. 3 Words, 4 Letters. Don't you just love that title? And his latest work is The Night Eddie Salas Died, a Bronze Prize winner of the International Society of Poets. Our guest has penned editorials for the Waterloo, Cedar Falls Courier in Iowa, and his column, Heartstrings, is one of the gems of WyattEvans.com. And the brother has charted at #1 several times on the Reverb Nation pop music charts. And my listeners, let me tell you something. I love doing that. It just energizes me. It makes me feel good. Well, Hartsel's a bishop of national and international social action, part of New Direction Overcomers International Fellowship, which is based in Richmond, Virginia. So without further ado, Wyatt welcomes the absolutely awesome Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley. Talk at me, how the hell are ya?
My goodness, I'm well. That's the first time I've heard all of that come before Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley. So now, if I'm in church and someone speaks and they do all of that, I'm going to have to live up to all of that.
Yes, you do. And you know what? I can barely speak having said all that. I'm just messing with you. Now, look, we at WyattEvans.com refer to you as our historian. In your column titled Heartstrings, which is wickedly popular, you enlighten and educate us about significant figures and moments in time in LGBTQ history, particularly Black gay history. So let me ask you this, my friend. What was the impetus behind the creation of Heartstrings and your vision for it?
Well, my vision for it was to pull out people who aren't the usual suspects, such as, they go to Langston Hughes, they go to Sylvester, they go to name a more popular figure. And so there's so many more folks than the usual suspects that they go to, Conley Cullen and folks from the Harlem Renaissance. And then locally they have their favorites that they cling to, but there's so many more people to know. And I decided to also concentrate on men because I believe that there is a lesbian there who can concentrate on the females.
Men. Yes, my brother. I totally agree with you. All right. Let's travel down the corridors of time. Are you ready?
Oh, boy. How fast are we driving?
About 50 miles an hour.
Oh, that's okay.
You were born, Hartsel, in Waterloo, Iowa. And you know, Nicole Hannah Jones, the influential educator, civil rights journalist, and Pulitzer Prize winner for the 1619 Project, was also born in Waterloo.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I didn't either.
Shut up.
Yeah, I was doing some research earlier on Waterloo, and I found her. She's one of a famous resident of Waterloo, so you're in great company, my friend.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Wonderful thing.
Well,
and it kind of doesn't surprise me in that there are just a handful of folks that come along every so often in Iowa, in Waterloo, Iowa, to be more specific, who really take an interest in Black history. We give it some attention during Black History Month, but of course it's 365 days. And so there are a few of us that are really cognizant of trying to make our history more appreciated and more known.
Right. I see your point. And, Waterloo is only about 16% Black. So tell us, what was it like growing up Black there?
Well, you have to. I was born in '69, so for me, growing up, we were coming out of the civil rights, the height of the civil rights thrust, and Martin Luther King had died, and so many folks had died and fought, and so what was left, just in my perspective, was the ashes.
Okay.
And so, for my parents were very protective because of how heightened it was actually in Waterloo, and part of it was due to my book, The Night Eddie Sands Died.
Right.
His death sparked a lot of civil unrest and brought to the forefront how racism was so prevalent. And so they were very protective. I could only go just so far. Only as far as they could see me. So I was very protected. Other than that, the 70s, it was the 70s. So, there was sugar, there was the Globetrotters, there was real candy, there was penny candy, there were Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
All this, it was actually fun.
Oh, okay. So what were you like as a little boy, a little nipper? What 3 characteristics, qualities best describe you?
Oh, I would say lively, lively, unabashed. And lively, unabashed, and I'll even throw in peculiar.
Peculiar. Why peculiar? That's interesting.
Peculiar, because even as a child, adults could be talking around me, and I understood their conversation.
Okay.
I may not be able to spell some of the words that they were using, right. And they weren't the words that I used at all, but I understood what they were saying, and it was all about getting the connotation of what they were saying. So I was never fooled by anything that how they say go upstairs or go in the other room. Well, there was no need to send me to the other room because I understood what y'all were talking about.
I love it.
But
I love it.
Which happened a lot. Yeah.
Well, what was your coming out process like? Did you know from the jump that your sexual orientation was, towards men, or was it something that evolved within you? I always like to ask that question.
I will say that at a very early age, I wouldn't have called it orientation because I was too young to know about orientation. I knew that I liked boys, and it was just the most natural thing to me. I remember there was a young brother in, I think this was like third grade, and I just thought he was real cool, and I asked him if he'd be my boyfriend.
Bold.
And all that was going to happen, it was just, I was unabashed. So all that was going to happen was, I'll see you when we come to school tomorrow. That's all. Nothing more than that was going to happen. We'll play together like we do, like normal. I'll see you tomorrow. No real relation, no, nothing more intimate than I'll see you tomorrow at school.
Well, what was his reaction like when you said you're going to be my boyfriend?
Well, I didn't say you're going to be. I asked him if he would be. I was a gentleman, but it was surprisingly he was aware of what, had some kind of awareness of what. Well, back then this term is horribly derogatory to me, but sissies were. Right. And he was like, so his reaction was of course adverse, and he of course rejected me.
Okay.
And so I wasn't heartbroken. I guess I think I was disappointed but because it wasn't like emotional and I'm in love with anything like that. It was just okay, because kids are resilient, and so you move along, and 10 minutes later we're outside playing on the playground.
Exactly, absolutely. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah.
So that I was what, 8, 9, 7, something. I don't know. I was a nipper for sure.
Yeah. Well, at 8 or 9, you knew what you wanted, so.
Well, yeah, and it was natural. It came very natural.
Cool. Okay. Now let's fast forward to 1987, and that was the start of your experience with intimate partner violence and abuse, which is domestic violence and abuse within the LGBTQ community. When you were last here, you went into detail about it. Can you give us the Reader's Digest version of your experience with intimate partner violence and abuse?
Hey, Reader's Digest version. I met the guy about 3 or 4 months after I graduated from high school. I found out that there was a gay bar. And he was aggressive in pursuing me. And because I had not ever had sex with a black man, or sex alone, period.
Okay.
Well, I hadn't. I was a virgin throughout all high school. I gave in to him, and at first it was cool. It was nice. We were excited to see each other. Blah blah blah. All of that wonderful stuff. And then the rules at the bar that we were going to changed, and I couldn't get in because I was only 18. Okay. So, in his control, he was married. I have to add that he was married, which adds to the control part. So, the arrangement that he came up with is that I would stay with him on the weekends with him and his wife and his little baby. So, that's where it began, because even though he had me under his thumb, so to speak, with him at his apartment, he was still not trustworthy of me. As a matter of fact, in the very beginning, when the relationship was agreed upon, I guess, I had to be at work at 6:00 the next morning. So I'm at work the next morning, and I worked at a grocery store, and he comes in the grocery store.
So it was the whole isolation plus, watching you, keeping his eye on you, that control and manipulation.
Exactly. And then that was the very beginning, but which I thought was strange right then, but I didn't think anything of it because I had never been in a relationship. But as time went on, he became jealous, possessive, and always accusing me of stuff that it turns out that he was doing.
Right. So how did the emotional, mental stuff progress?
Oh, well, one of his big things was I don't want to play mind games. No mind games. But that's what he was doing, actually. And so it got to the point where if I resisted him, then there was a problem.
Oh, I see.
If someone gave me a compliment, there's a problem because they didn't give him a compliment or didn't give him a compliment first. Then he actually cheated on me, which of course my first time. So of course my little heart was broken, and I was all dramatic with dark glasses and crying and all of that. all those first heartbreak dramatics. And he came by my place. I had gotten a place just so that we could be together. He came by my place and he apologized and he cried, which was a tool of emotional manipulation. Which his ex, with whom I met further later on down the line, told me don't believe him when he does stuff like that because it's just an act.
Manipulation. Got it.
Yes. So his angst, I guess, that the attention that I got and that and wanting to make sure that he had me under his thumb became physical later when towards the end of the relationship, especially when he came by and he had left me again for somebody else after the umpteenth time. And I was refusing to even entertain the thought and to take him back. No, we're not doing this anymore. I can't do this. I had gotten to that point of asking myself the question, how many times can a heart break? And so he grabbed me by my wrist and he dug my right wrist and he grabbed it and held it so tight and so long that his fingerprints stayed there for years.
Whoa, that was a hell of a grip.
Yeah. And mind you, I'm 5'4", and he was not. He was taller. So yeah, it was a hell of a grip, and he held it for a long time. And after that, we somehow, when he let go, we ended up resting on the mattress, and because I had a mattress that I slept on that I just laid on the floor because I was in an efficiency apartment, so there wasn't room for a whole lot of stuff. So the mattress was on the floor, and so we ended up on the mattress, which actually fell on the mattress, and he tried to wrestle me then, and I managed to get my legs, my feet at his waist, and then to push him off me. And it was at that point he got up and he was like, okay, whoever you've been talking to, they trained you real well. They trained you real well. You keep on believing them. They just using you. And then he left.
Well, this guy seems like he was a mental case. I mean...
Oh, he was.
Well, how did you make your great escape? How did you get the hell away from this fool?
Oh, the great escape. Well, we had gotten back together after that one last time because keep in mind, this is Waterloo, Iowa, as we said. The choice of black men is slim to none. And he unfortunately was at that time the pick of the crop.
Oh, brother.
So,
no.
Yeah. So,
okay, I understand that. Got it.
Yes. Yeah. So I decided, because I was familiar with him, to go ahead and try one more time, because he seemed like he was sorry about all stuff that happened in the past, and he was going to try again. And he actually said, "I really love my baby," and all this kind of stuff, which he never said before, and all this kind of thing. And so I get a hotel room. I get a hotel room to commensurate this occasion, and we are about to be intimate. And as soon as intimacy begins, he stops and accuses me of being with someone else. And before I even get the chance to protest, he's like, "Don't even try it. Don't even try it. I know what it's like when somebody else has been in you." And I was heartbroken and flabbergasted and more, because he would leave me and come back so fast. I didn't have time to dry my eyes good, and here he was.
Like whiplash.
Like whiplash, like a boomerang. I just like I said, he was the familiar choice. So every time he would leave me for somebody or something, and come back, I would let him, because I didn't. My self-confidence was shaken. My self-esteem was shaken. My confidence of myself was pretty much in his hand. So I kept taking him back. But this last time, I was that last time just broke my heart just entirely too much. So I decided I'm going to go into the military to get away from him, so that he cannot reach me, he cannot contact me, he can't find me any kind of way at all. And that was going to be my great escape.
But he left you with a parting gift.
Yeah, he left me with a parting gift. And that was the revelation that he had left me HIV positive.
Man, I am so sorry.
What I didn't mention in all of that stuff, in one of those times that I was staying at his place, he came in one night drunk, and he didn't say a word, and he proceeded to take my clothes I was sleeping off and just rammed himself into me.
Oh man. So that was forcible anal rape. That's what that was.
Yes, it was.
And you probably didn't tell anyone because of the stigma and everything else.
I'm in Iowa. I'm a black man. The stigma. He's married. He was a preacher. Blah blah blah. This is 1987, and where was I going to hide from the being ostracized?
Yeah, the whole stigma thing. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, where is this idiot today?
He died around 1995. Really? And I managed to only see him between 1988 and 95. I managed to only see him one time. Other than that, I was able to completely avoid him.
Okay.
And that one time that I did see him, a mutual friend of ours took me by the place that he had moved to with his new lover, his new white lover.
Oh, really?
Because my friend likes to fight and likes to start things. So he took me by the place. In which I actually said nothing. I just stood there kind of flabbergasted at what I was seeing.
Well, you know what, Hartsel, I want to thank you for having the courage to share your story, because we have got to keep shining a bright light on this potentially life-threatening cycle of behavior. I mean, the bottom line is this: love ain't supposed to hurt.
It's not. Not at all.
This is the perfect time to ask you, my friend, of your bishop, why did you decide to walk that path?
Well, with him being in church the way he was, and I had only really been just around church off and on, he drove me more or less to church because I needed to find some kind of place of refuge. Yeah. And so I started going to church. And he actually forbid me to go to church. So I started going to church even more. every time, every time the church doors opened, that a church that I knew, I was there for every little
that
thing.
pissed him off.
Oh, of course, church is nothing to play with. You don't know what you're doing. So yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I went even more. And another mutual friend of ours actually started going to a different church, and he told me about that church. And so I managed to eventually make my way to that church, and that is the church where I started to really get planted in the things of God and to grow, which eventually led many years later to the opportunity to become a bishop.
That's very uplifting. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're such a multifaceted, talented guy. I want to shift gears and talk about your music. Now, Hartsel, it's my understanding that early on, your interest in music was sparked by your dad's extensive music collection.
Oh my gosh. He had the biggest record collection as a kid that I could see. He always had a big stereo, always big speakers, always good sound. And so music was always around. And then he played bass. Really? And he was actually self-taught. He was self-taught on bass. He actually started out with piano, like most people do. But he missed that one lesson, and he got tapped on those knuckles with a ruler, and he decided to quit. And somehow he found his way to the bass, and he actually played very, very well, very, very good. As a matter of fact, when he was overseas in the Army, Ike Turner got rid of a bass player because of some reason, and they heard that my dad played bass, and my dad got to fill in for the bass player.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, so he played, I guess, the rest of that gig that Ike and Tina Turner had overseas.
Whoa.
There. Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
Well, what are you working on now musically?
Now I am working on a new project that I really don't do working titles. If I decide on the title, it's the title. And it's going to be called A Place for Us.
A Place for Us.
Which is the title of one of the songs.
Nice. Now we're going to play your song Linger, but before we do, please set it up for us. And what's the meaning behind the title Linger?
Linger is, for this song, it is the knowing that this person is the one for them.
Oh.
And they want the kiss that lingers.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sort of sublime there, my brother. Yeah. Nice.
Kisses that you remember. Yeah. Like I have one in mind actually right now.
I do too, goddammit.
It's the whole thought of a kiss that stays on your mind.
That's sexy. That's sensual. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And romantic.
Definitely romantic. Wow, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my listeners, without further ado, I present Linger by Mr. Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley.
And far too long, closest to romance, like a torch song, minutes away from your smiling face, seconds too long away from your embrace. You will be, you should be the one for me. I look at you and more is all I Don't play it too cool. Remind my heart, don't be no fool. Forever is asking for a chance. Don't be afraid if you don't know the dance. You will be, you could be, you should be the one for me. I look at you and more is all I see. So kiss me now and let it linger. Kiss me now and let it linger. I tell myself, don't play it too cool. No, no. Remind my heart, don't you be no fool. Don't be no fool. Forever is asking just for a chance, just one chance. Don't be afraid if you don't know the dance. You should be the one for me, baby. When I look at you, and more I see. So kiss me now, and let it linger. Come on and kiss me, woo, my baby. Now and let it linger, baby. Yeah, you will be, you could be, you should be the one for me, baby. When I look at you, when I look at you, when I look at you, all I see. So kiss me now, nice and easy, nice and easy, nice and slow. Kiss me now and let it linger. Woo.
Okay, Linger, that is absolutely awesome. Everybody's got to go out and get that. We'll find out near the end of this show where you can get all of Hartsel's great stuff. But Bishop Hartsel, let's move on to your
Yes.
writing. Now, your latest work
Okay.
is The Night Eddie Salas Died, which is the true recounting of Salas, who died in a Waterloo, Iowa jail under suspicious circumstances in 1966. First of all, what
Yes.
moved you to write about this incident?
I happened to be in school at this time, and we were doing a bunch of study
Okay.
circles. And I went to my first and only in study circle that involved the local NAACP. And a former city council person was sitting to my right, and the sheriff was sitting to my left. And we got to a point where in the discussion where the council person nudged me and said, "Ask what really happened to Eddie Salas."
Wow.
And so when I could get an edge into the conversation, I turned to the sheriff and asked, "What really happened to Eddie Salas?" And immediately the sheriff said, "We're not going to talk about that."
Uh-huh.
And so there, my curiosity was piqued because inquiring minds have questions.
Indeed. Wow.
What did happen? I hadn't heard his name before then.
Wow. Well, how long did it take you to research and then finish the book? You know, the research, the writing, all of that.
Right. So that NAACP meeting, that was in 2002. And so it took actually 17 years. And over that time, especially as the internet became bigger and broader and information became more accessible and things like Facebook came along, I could only get just a paragraph here, a paragraph there about him. And it all pretty much said the same thing. And what happened? It was so big that if you look on Wikipedia, it actually has a place in the city history of Waterloo. A college student at the University of Northern Iowa, at the University of Northern Iowa, actually did a paper on this city, and they mentioned it as well. It was huge when it happened. It was in Jet magazine twice. Wow. Yeah, it was big. It was really, really big. It sparked protests. It sparked the National Guard had to come in. It was really huge when he died because it was so suspicious, and because it was race relations had been bubbling already, but this time it just bubbled over. And so I managed to be in conversation with a friend of mine from junior high and high school on Facebook one day, and she said, "Hold on for just a second." And she worked for the local newspaper, and she was gone for about 15 minutes. I was like, oh, "Okay, did she leave me? Is she gone?" I thought she maybe left. She went and gathered every article that the paper had printed on him. Wow. And she sent it to me. And thank goodness for her, because it told the whole entire story.
Wow.
It was right there before everybody's eyes, what really happened. Now, some things in the story you have to draw the conclusion from inference, but you know that what I came to the conclusion of him being actually murdered, you know that actually happened.
Right.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist. The city council person that was sitting to my right said plainly and clearly, the way that the jail cells were constructed at that time, it was impossible for him to hang himself. Why would he call out to his friend who had gone to jail with him, "Howard, help me, Howard, help me," hollering, mind you, screaming, "Help me," if he was hanging himself?
Absolutely. Wow.
Right.
Well, my listeners, you've got to get a copy of The Night Eddie Salas Died by our friend Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley. And let me ask you this, what are you writing right now?
Right now, I'm actually going to be writing some more songs. Books are not happening right now, but some more songs are brewing.
Well, brewing is good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
and it's a real.
No, you please finish.
Oh, it's back in 1993, Billy Joel made a statement, and he said he didn't know what giving birth to children was like, but writing songs was as close as he was going to be able to come. And he was not lying at all. Not lying at all. It is a birthing process.
Which is very true. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with writing a book.
Absolutely. It's creating something from Thank you. Yeah, it's just like it's raising and nurturing a child.
Exactly. And then sitting on an egg sometime, like a hen. Like if you send it to your editor, you had to wait for them to get it back to you so you can see what they've done with your child.
Right, and then sometimes your child is unrecognizable.
Oh,
yes. So tell me, sir, what do you have on tap for the rest of 2022?
The rest of 2022. So far, I am 6 songs into the next CD, and it's going to be on CD, and of course streaming as well. I'm going to do my best to get the second and third parts of 3 words, 4 letters out, which will be called 3 words for the second book and 4 letters for the last book.
I like that.
I'm going to do my best to get them all out so that the whole trilogy is out.
Okay, so give us the title of your new music that's coming out later this year.
It's going to be, the whole project is going to be called A Place for Us. Yes, and I'm going to actually dedicate it to Nigel Shelby.
Okay, got Nigel Shelby.
He's a young man. Yes, he was a young man in Huntsville, Alabama, who was gay, and he's a teenager, young teenager, and he killed himself because he was gay and because of all of the,
because of the stigma.
Yeah. Because of stigma, because of how his peers treated him, because the administrators at the school acted as if they were powerless to do anything at all, and he was fending for himself.
So how do we grab copies of your books and your music?
My books right now, you can email me directly at hartselshirley@gmail.com.
Okay.
And you can go to lulu.com to get The Night Eddie Salas died.
Okay.
And for the music, my first CD is available on Amazon and almost every other possible way you can get it, like Google Music, iHeart, Deezer, Napster, all those other places, and Bandcamp. And then all of my music is available on Bandcamp, where you can download a song individually or get a whole project.
And spell out your email address, please.
HARTSELSHIRLEY
Now, what about your social media? How can we contact you, connect with you, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram?
On Facebook, it is Hartsel C. Shirley. You can look me up there. Instagram, I believe it's the same way, and Twitter is the same way.
Wonderful. Well, Mr. Bishop Hartsel Clifton Shirley, thank you for dropping by. Wyatt, I appreciate it.
Likewise.
So there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page on WyattEvans.com. The official hashtag is Wyatt on Air. And if you want to be a guest on Wyatt, or, you just got some comments, email me at wyattonair@gmail.com. And you can follow me, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, your host, on Facebook.com/Wyatt O'Brien Evans, on Twitter at Mr. Woe, that's MISTERWOE, and on Instagram at Sir Wyatt Official. And be sure to check out my Nothing and There's a Part series of novels, the latest being Frenzy. I said Frenzy. And its predecessor, Rage, all at WyattEvans.com. Now, before I close out, if you or someone you know is experiencing intimate partner violence and abuse, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that's at 800-799-7233, or the Gay Men's Domestic Violence Project Hotline at 800-832-1901. And we've got the Trans Lifeline Hotline, and the U.S. phone is 877-565-8860. In Canada, at 877-330-6366. And check out WyattEvans.com, because I have a special IPVA section with resources. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, woof, woof.